What is up, and welcome back to the channel. We are your Colorado real estate family. So 99% of our videos, we're always kind of trying to convince you of all the great things happening in Colorado, the great reasons to move to Colorado. Today, we're going to go over the reasons why you should not move to Colorado.
All right, let's go. Alright, if you're new to our channel, Chelsea and Pete here, and if you're interested in what it's like to move to Colorado, Denver, or any of its surrounding cities, do yourself a favor, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you get notified every single time we put out a new video.
Yeah, guys, what we like to do is be your boots on the ground experts, because if you're moving into Colorado from another state, we like to give you all that information to make your decision. What part of Colorado or Denver am I looking into moving into, right? But in this one, we're going to kind of divert you a little bit why you should move into Colorado. And we're going to have some fun with this. If you stick around to the end, we're going to come up with 5 reasons, but there'll be a bonus number 6 at the end. So stick around to the end, check out what that number 6 is. So first, we're going to move into number 1, which is Colorado's weather and climate.
Yeah, if you are coming from a state, say Florida, or a place that doesn't typically know snow, this might not be the state for you. Yes, we don't get a ton of snow.
Yeah.
But we get snow, and when we get it, we get it.
Well, not only that, and it's not only just the snow, but if you've ever heard anything in weather reports in regards to Colorado, it flips on a dime. You can literally be bathing in the sun one day and the next day wake up to snow. And that's just what happens in Colorado. Kind of being up as high as we are, the weather just changes like crazy. And honestly, there's sometimes it's awesome, right? Because say you spend the entire morning just chilling in the sun, hanging out, and then a huge storm rolls in. It's like, hey, I was able to go out and kind of do my thing instead of these prolonged storms.
Yeah.
And it's not like we don't have those prolonged storms, but it kind of mixes things up a little bit, keeps it kind of interesting.
They don't last long. So, I mean, yes, we'll get a couple dumps a season, you know, but typically it's cold between October, well, it starts to get cold in October, and then kind of goes through our last big snowstorms in May, but we have so much sunshine that it's just kind of up and down. In fact, a lot of people will say that if you don't like Colorado's weather, just stick it around a day or two, because the likeliness of it changing is pretty high. And if you aren't new to our channel and you can tell that I sound like a frog, it's because I just got over a sore throat, so bear with me if I'm coughing and hacking. I'm gonna try to hang in there today.
All right, so along with the weather too, also the climate. And this is something we talk about all the time. Mile High City guys here, so it's like we do have that dry climate. It's high elevation, so you have different stuff like altitude sickness, dry skin in the wintertime majority. Oh, your lips. Like I said, we always said, bring your chapstick, bring your lotion if you're coming to Colorado, because it's something that you really have to deal with. And like I said, that elevation or that altitude sickness, it's a thing for sure. Like, I know some people, they'd be like, whatever, I'm good with it. But I have family who is born and raised here. Sometimes when we go in the mountains, they get that I keep wanting to say elevation sickness, altitude sickness, and it sucks, you know. So it's something you got to look forward to with Colorado. If you are coming into Colorado, we're high elevation, we got a dry climate, so something to really kind of keep you away, I guess.
Now, I will say, I'm gonna put a pro in here, even though I shouldn't. It's hard, guys. It's really hard to tell you why not to move to Colorado. I know there's some big ones. We're gonna talk about those today. But it's also a little hard because there's a reason we live here. But with altitude and all of that, a lot of people come here to train. You know what I mean? Because they know how hard that is.
High altitude training or whatever it's called. Oh yeah.
Yeah, and so
it's a thing.
You know, it's for real. Like, athletes come here to do that so that they're better at what they do. So that shows you right there. Also, we don't like to point it out, but if you see us licking our lips in all of these videos,
all
it's
the time,
because of that dryness. And so people always joke about moving to Colorado, bring your chapstick.
Oh man, there's a few times when I recorded for you guys, I'm like, I hope they don't see how dry my lips are now.
Oh my gosh, me too. Me too. Okay, all right.
All right, we're gonna move on to number 2, and like I said, we're gonna kind of keep this stuff fun. Guess what? If you don't like beer, don't come to Colorado.
Probably not the place for you.
We're one of the top states with the most craft breweries in the United States, right? And so, honestly, okay.
We're a little hypocrite.
Well, yes, we are. I wouldn't say we're hypocrites, but we are those kind of people that really don't drink beer. So when we have friends who bring over their favorite craft beer and they want us to try it out, and we're like, I really don't drink beer, we get that stink eye a little bit.
People are like,
some time to kill, I think I'll have a beer.
We don't have no beer, just tequila.
what do you mean you don't drink beer? You're in Colorado.
Yeah.
Well, number 1, I'm a glutard. If anybody else out there gets offended by that, please don't, because I'm right there with you. I can say it because I am. But so we don't really drink beer. But that doesn't mean that we don't really enjoy the brewery culture.
Yep.
So if you're not really into that, I mean, we have so many breweries here. It's kind of a thing. Like it.
I think it's right around 433 is the last number I saw, craft breweries in the state of Colorado. So.
Yeah, so if that's not really your thing, and anywhere you go, especially the new up and coming places around here, a lot of them are kind of around some of the breweries, and like that's the culture. Like people always say that Colorado people are kind of chill and and that kind of matches really well with the brewery culture, and so we have a lot of that.
I will throw. So there's one beer that we have a buddy who always brings over.
Oh yeah.
And it's Soul Craft's like green chili beer. Freaking amazing. It's made in Colorado, in Salida, Colorado. That is one that I will not turn down, even though it gives me crazy heartburn afterwards.
Okay, but 50-50 here. 50% of the people hate it. 50% of the
That's
people
true.
love it. There's
Every time,
no in between.
I always try and like, oh, you have to try it. Believe me, I hate beer. Try this out. And they're like, yeah, this is amazing, or that's disgusting.
Like green chili.
Yeah, it's like green chili in a can, which I'm a huge fan of
really
green
into
chili.
all that.
And green chili, like we didn't really realize. Actually, it was when I was in the military. I thought green chili. Everyone knew how amazing green chili was until you go to like the East Coast and like, what the heck? Are you talking about Verde sauce? It's like no. If
Everywhere though, like there's green chili is not everywhere.
No, it's more of like a Tex-Mex type of food. But I mean, if you haven't had green chili or you've never heard of green chili and you're coming into Colorado, you need to have green chili. So.
And green chili beer.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, those are the reasons we're trying to talk you why not to move to Colorado.
This is why we knew. We need to get back on track.
Yeah, and so for those of you who do know, I'm not using the pink notepad today. I'm using my own yellow one. So it's all right. We'll use the pink one on another
makes
video.
fun of my pink notepad. So.
All right, cool. So another big reason why you should not move into Colorado is our competitive real estate market. And we run into this all the time because, I mean, we're involved in real estate all the time, always helping out people just like you who are moving into Colorado when they're purchasing their houses. And it is super competitive. So you're going up against, I'd say at least probably a half a dozen to a dozen different buyers when you're competing in this market against a house. Now, with that being said, though, that's not to say that we can't find you a house when you are coming to Colorado. It happens all the time, and I always say it's at the same time, that doesn't mean I'm mixing my words up a little bit, but I always say this to my clients: the right one will come. There hasn't been a single time that I wasn't helping out a client that they ended up with the house that they truly loved, and they're glad that the offers that fell out before fell out because they're like, man, this is where I was meant to be, right? Everything's meant to be. So.
Yeah. So what we always tell our clients coming in is, we'll let them know ahead of time, hey, you're in kind of a competitive price point, or, what's the most important to you, and just really narrowing that down.
Or a competitive area in general.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And then, having somebody local and knowing, and I'm not trying to sales pitch on you, but it's just really true, right? Having somebody local and knowing, okay, I know that I want to get close to here, but maybe that market is really competitive, but I'm willing to go 5 miles, 10 miles outside that radius and then have a higher chance of getting exactly what I want as a house. So just weighing those pros and cons, knowing the areas enough to and then also being patient with the timing, and then being really creative with your contracts. Like it used to be, and correct me if I'm wrong, but people used to come here and represent themselves often. I don't see that anymore. There's just no way of getting in and having this, without having a real estate agent that's actually in the market, dealing with it day in, day out, knowing what's taking, knowing what's not. For a while, their escalation clauses were huge. Yep. Now they don't really like them. So there's trends in the market, and it's really important to have somebody that represents you. Okay, now I'm selling. Okay, but seriously, it really helps to have somebody represent you that knows the area and knows what's important at the time.
Well, we need to set that expectation because a lot of people come in thinking, I'm going to buy a house, I'm just going to get one right off the bat.
Right.
Listen, I mean, there's many times where you're paying, tens of thousands of dollars over, or you might be able to get it right at your list price. It just all depends on the property, how popular that property is, or how the area is. And so it's something that we always kind of look at, ways we get creative. But if you're coming into Colorado, just expect that there is going to be a competitive market, and you're most likely going to be competing against other buyers. So, absolutely. I mean, Colorado's hot right now. It's a popular spot to be.
The other thing, too, is we watch trends, right? So there are times in the year that are a little slower. And of course it's always, changes by interest rates and all of that, but there are trends. And so it's important to understand, we'll say, you're coming at a pretty decent time, or, that's a hot month, so it's just helpful.
Yep, exactly. All right, cool. Are we on number 3? No, 4.
Four.
Yeah, that was 3.
1,
This
2, 3, 4.
This is one number 4. And number 4, we're going to be a little bit silly with this one again. Another reason that you should not move to Colorado, guess what? Peyton Manning retired. And so if you're huge Bronco fans like this, or say that you want to be in a state or a city where you have a great football team, the Broncos haven't been cutting it lately.
Don't really have it right now.
Yeah, and I mean, a big reason is because of the whole ownership debacle that the Broncos are dealing with right now. When Pat Bowlen died, all of his kids are kind of fighting over ownership, and they finally just recently announced that they're going to be selling the team. We should know before the end of before the next season, or 22 season starts. But I mean, that's a bummer, man. If you want to be in a town with like a high class, like, you know, top notch team, like, I mean, you know, Tampa Bay, that's, you know, they're doing their thing, and, you know, the Rams just won. I mean, but the Broncos just haven't been doing it lately, and there are some diehard fans still out there that we're still rooting all day, every day.
We're trying. We're like, we're still here, and it's just not as fun as a season as it has been when Peyton was with us. We really miss you, Peyton. Are you sure you want to?
Well, so there's some rumors out there that I heard that he's getting together and trying to put a whole group together to purchase the Broncos, you know, like a whole group of investors. And so that'd be kind of cool, because I think Peyton has the passion to kind of get the team rolling again. I think that's what's been missing. So as long as we get an owner that I think that comes here and that's passionate about having a winning team, I think we get easy to get back there, because the fans are definitely here. We're back.
We're here. We're here, just waiting patiently for a nice season again, instead of having to get excited about fantasy.
Now
we have to do fantasy because we have to get excited about our own created team, because ours just isn't cutting it right now.
Yeah, that's true. All right, cool. So number 5, and this one, I mean, something that's come up recently a lot in Colorado is our taxes have been going up. Well, not only have taxes been going up, but we do have a state income tax. So if you're coming from a state, you know, like Florida or Texas, where you don't have that state income tax, guess what? You're gonna have to look forward to that here. Now, there are some things in Texas like that offsets that. So let's say Texas has higher property taxes, and so that's why you're not paying that state income tax. And that's something I could say in the past where it's like, yes, we have that state income tax, but our property taxes are low. Well, Gallagher was just repealed. And it was repealed back in 2020. And essentially what that did is it kept a ceiling on how high our property taxes could go up. And even some years it reduced them a little bit. Well, guess what? Gallagher, since it was repealed, now essentially what our property taxes is, they froze. And so that means that all these legislatures could do different reasons to raise your property taxes, where before that wasn't in place. There's some people who are saying that it's opening Pandora's box to hyperinflate our property taxes. I can't predict the future. I can't tell you what's going to happen, but that's just, I mean, some people are saying, great, here we go. Property taxes are going to start going up in Colorado, and so now you have that state income tax and you have that property tax. And so
we're not really sure. You just got to keep an eye on it. Obviously, watch what bills are coming across and how that'll affect any of the tax raises, and just be involved. You know, if you're going to be here, that just be involved.
Yeah, that's, I mean, it all depends on where you're at, right? Because, I mean, property taxes are good in some ways. You know, it goes towards our schools, it goes towards our fire departments. We've got to look at all those things. But there's a certain point where it's like, okay, but how much of that do I want contributed to those resources, and how much do you think is getting wasted? So you just got to weigh your pros and cons. I'm just saying that you have to expect it. Like I said before, we had that ceiling, and now it's kind of removed. Who knows what's going to happen?
Yeah, we're not really sure, so we're just going to keep watching and hope it just doesn't crawl up.
You got to see what happens. All right, so number 6, and this is one, the bonus one that you stuck around for. If you just absolutely hate the obnoxious, amazing sunsets that Colorado has, you should not move to Colorado.
Yeah, if you absolutely hate like the beautiful mountains and the views and the active lifestyle.
If you're annoyed by all the awesome people out there doing great activities like you know, kayaking and rafting down the Colorado, I mean,
or the 4 beautiful seasons, or the down to earth Coloradan like lifestyle, it just might not be for you, because at the end of the day, we are Coloradans. We love it here. We do understand why there's some things that people don't move into the state, but all in all, we're still pro Colorado.
All right, cool guys. Well, I mean, that's essentially some reasons that we kind of came up with to not move into Colorado. Not gonna lie, I mean, the pros way outweigh the cons when it comes to moving into Colorado. There's some amazing things about Colorado. Every time we have one of you guys, or help when you move into Colorado, you love it. You're glad you're here. You're glad you made that move. And so there you go.
But you gotta know the cons. You gotta know the cons.
Well,
you gotta weigh it all. Everywhere you go, you gotta weigh the pros and the cons. All right, if there are certain areas that you want us to check into, we go, you know, from Denver, all the surrounding cities. We cover Fort Collins, all the way down to Colorado Springs. So just please reach out. Let us know which cities you're interested in. We do all of these videos for you so that you have somebody local that are looking in and showing you the areas before you even have to come here.
Yeah, guys. And of course, if you're moving into Colorado, like I said, licensed real estate agent here, helping out with all your needs. We love talking to you on a daily basis all the time about moving into Colorado, what we're looking at for real estate. So until next time,
bye.
Bye.